credit unions, and exclusive lending institutions. Mark works with the borrowers to find them the best rate and most suitable mortgage product. Let Mark work for you. To learn more, call Mark for your free consultation at 705-254-9678.
Well, we're here for another episode of the Sports Talk with my co-host Jim Monaco and Tony Bondaferro. How's everybody tonight?
We're good, Jay.
Good, thank you.
Yep, we're good. After that, we had a great show yesterday. Nice little Super Bowl show. Right? That was really fun. So, spent the day recovering here and excited to get into this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't hear Bono. Can you guys?
I think Monaco has to turn up his hearing aids.
That's old age, Jay. That's what happens.
So maybe with Bono, you might have to sign in and out. Jim had that problem yesterday. It might be you, Bono.
Yeah. Well, if everyone else can hear me for now, that's good, and then we'll kick it over.
You guys hear Bono?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
So.
All right.
And you can hear me.
So
John?
anyway, guys, we're lucky today to be joined by President of the Athletic Association here in the Sud, Dave Zagordo from St. Mary's. We have a grade 9 from Cora, Jared Dewar, and we have a grade 12 student.
Has to turn up his hearing aids.
And grade 12 student here from St. Mary's as well. So we really appreciate you guys joining us today. Dave, especially, from the standpoint of the school, and you have a pretty important role, obviously. I'm sure you're answering all sorts of questions about sports and what's going on. And I know your hands are tied in a lot of this. But I'm going to just come out and ask you the question that everybody wants to know. What's the latest with high school sports? Have you heard anything? Just kind of provide any sort of update.
Well, the latest, I received an email on Thursday of last week, and it's not good news, was that OFSA has canceled the spring championships. So, that was Thursday, and I've been in some emails all weekend, and including today, that OFSA is going to follow suit with NASA is going to follow suit with canceling all NASA championships for the spring as well. So that is confirmed, and it's unfortunate, and I knew it was inevitable because once OFSA cancels, NASA just follows, and then that leads to our local sports as well, that there won't be any spring sports here in the Soo. So it's not good news I have, unfortunately. I apologize, but that's just the latest. Our governing body is OFSA. So we do adhere to OFSA rules. Our regional association is NASA. And then we follow what they do, and then we got to go by our local. So it's just kind of a domino effect. So if it happens from the top, it eventually it affects us locally.
Dave, what exactly are the spring sports?
Sorry, Coach?
What are the spring sports?
Spring sports are soccer, track and field.
So that's basically everything, right?
No, just soccer, track and field, and there's a little bit of the OFSA championships of winter, like girls volleyball and that go into March. But we're talking about those are the end of the winter sports. But we're just pretty much looking at soccer, track and field, and that's it.
So those are soccer, track and field are canceled now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so confirmed. Yes.
So basically, we're looking at no sports for the whole year, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you guys if the Sioux Association ever decided that they wanted to go against and do it on their own and not follow NASA's lead, what would that take?
We've attempted in the Sioux to go ahead with some playing regulations, but we've been stumped by our directors, both public and Catholic. In discussion with Algoma Public Health, they felt that it wasn't safe to have any sort of athletics, even practices. We submitted a volleyball proposal before Christmas where our volleyball coach wanted to do just skill development, just practicing skill development in cohorts. He divided up girls by grades. It was unbelievable. We thought, this is fantastic. A couple days a week, work on skill development. And we got denied.
So basically, David, the reason we're asking you these questions is because people like to blame people, right? People are not happy that there's no sports.
Yeah.
Obviously, and I know yourself, you're not happy either. You've been a dedicated coach for years. You probably put as much into high school sports as anybody has over the years, all combined. And so people like to blame people, right? So who are they going to get mad at, right? And you hear it a lot. Oh, those teachers. Oh, those teachers. They don't want to do anything. And so I kind of want to get that clear to everybody that it's not the teachers. The teachers are instructed to do so, and basically the board goes to the public health unit, like you said, and then and they get their word from above, like you said, NASA, OFSA. So that's where I want to be clear, Dave. Is we don't like the fact that people say, hey, teachers, they're lazy, they don't want to do it, they don't care, and that's what you hear, right? And I'm sure you hear it more than anybody. I hear it all the time. All those teachers, they don't want sports. So I just wanted to give you that opportunity to say, you know what, it's not us. We're doing everything we can. Ultimately, we understand because it's safety first, and I understand. We all understand that. But just to give a little speak on that, Dave, that it's not you guys directly. You do support the decisions because you understand the safety fact, but you want to tell us basically, and we want you to tell us basically where it comes from, right? If you want to go ahead.
So I've had, my coaches are dying to get out there, even just to practice, anything. They just want to get in the gym or get in the weight room and, just to do skill development. And we're not even getting approved for that. And that's sad. So I got all my coaches very upset, and ever since September, and it's just been kiboshed ever since. Like I say, my hands are tied as an athletic director. It's coming from the top. Like, we're talking about our directors of education, both public and Catholic. It's if they agree to it, and then we can go ahead and make a proposal to Algoma Public Health. They just want to know what we're going to be doing, and the protocols we're going to follow, the safety regulations, the cohorts, and we did that, like I said, in our volleyball proposal. And unfortunately, it got turned down. So we're like,
and that's good, Dave. That's good for people to hear that you guys are trying, and you put something together. Volleyball is not a contact sport, and I think the frustrating thing is you do see some hockey going on in the world, and you see a little bit of some basketball going on in different stages. I don't know that much about it, but there is some hockey going on. But it seems through the schools, nothing's going on, and I get that, but it seems like the schools are not going to. And for me as a football coach, the only place basically football is played is in the schools, and and there's just it's just not going to happen. So
right, and you know what? It's frustrating because there's club volleyball going on, there's club basketball going on, and they're going. They used to go every Mondays and Wednesdays, and I had girls in my class. I got volleyball tonight, and I'm like, wow. Like, so you got the difference between club and educational, where we have certain rules and regulations we have to follow, and we can't practice. And then you got club who can just go ahead and do it and practice. And you know what? I don't. It's not fair.
So Dave, what I have to say,
I'm doing most of the talking because I can't hear Bono very well. So I'm doing most of the talking. But Dave, what do you think going forward? Like, and I know this would be just a total guess for you, but people always ask me, is there going to be football in September? People talk football with me because that's what I coach. Will there be football in September? I always kind of say, to me, it's like 50-50. And I don't know if that's being optimistic or pessimistic, but, what I know you're just guessing, but what do you say for September? I know that's a long way off.
Man, I was just talking just before the show with Jay. I think it all depends if we can get vaccinated. We were promised as educators that we get a vaccine before July. And I don't know if that's a possibility now because of the delays. Now we're just hoping to get vaccinated before September. So, I'm not sure where that is. It all depends on our vaccinations. how quickly we can get it done. If we do get vaccinated in the summer, I see fall sports as a possibility, definitely.
Yeah, so I'll ask this question and I'll let Bono go. So I think it's safe to say, basically, Dave, that not directly, but the September sports are going to be tied in with vaccinations, right? That's a pretty safe statement for now. I mean, in general, but yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And if that happens, say we get vaccinated, say September, I definitely see our winter sports up and running starting in November, which is a possibility, which is a lot of sports, would be awesome to see. So, so fall's up in the air, but if we can get going, winter sports definitely a good possibility because that doesn't start till November. So, fingers crossed. I'd like to see everything go up and going in September because everyone's ready to go.
It's funny, Dave, because we're kind of tied in. As you know, I'm part of the SaberCat organization, and we just had OFC meetings this weekend, and they basically told us that the fields in Toronto are going to be closed till almost all summer, late August. So they start talking about possibly having an OFC season at the end of August or middle of August, and then we got to play the game. And we don't want to have that during high school season, and there's just so much unknown. And we talked off air, and we'll talk to the students soon. It's just so tough for them, eh? It's so tough the kids to go through this situation. But I'll let Bono go ahead now.
Yeah, so Dave, just a couple things. We have one question here on the side, and I don't even know if this is something that you can answer, but obviously vaccinations. This is the issue with vaccinations. They're talking about not vaccinating people under the age of 16, right, for a variety of reasons. So I guess that's a question. If kids aren't vaccinated, but because they're not technically mandated to be vaccinated, how would that work? And again, I don't even know if you can answer that yet, but that was just it's a question we have here. So
tough question. I don't have the health expertise in that one, but
no, absolutely,
according to the government's return to play, it sounds like a vaccination. They want everyone to be vaccinated, and if you are not vaccinated, I don't see possibility of playing sports, especially when everybody has been. They're talking about having a card showing the proof that you've been vaccinated, and I don't know, it's been mentioned, but I definitely can't give you a definitive answer to that because that would be the government's return to play protocol, and if that's something they implement, then we'd have to follow it.
I think your hands are tied, right? You're going to do whatever Algoma Public Health or whatever the government says, and you guys are just going to follow that. And until we really know for sure, it's just hard to tell, right? And unfortunately for you, you're the one that's going to get these questions, being the head of the association. So before we get to Jarrett and Mercedes here, I just want to talk a little bit. Now, I have a client who attends St. Mary's. So I'm at St. Mary's College every day. I have the privilege of seeing what you teachers actually have to do and have to deal with during COVID. I actually tell people what I see you doing. As an athletic director, it's almost like you've taken on a whole nother aspect, almost because you guys have to ensure the safety. Talk a little bit about the changes that you've had to do. Can you, some of the things that have been added to your job, some of the cleaning and some of the new procedures that have gone into place around St. Mary's?
So quickly, well, first of all teachers are mandated to wear face masks, and now we're mandated to wear eye protection. So every teacher, every school board employee has to wear either a face shield or glasses, safety glasses, or even the larger glasses that go over your prescription glasses. So if you come into St. Mary's, you'll see everybody covered for everything, their whole face, and it's not easy. Teaching phys ed with glasses or shield on and a mask, it's very difficult. Even just having that on all day, and it's something that our board alone mandated, saying that you must wear it. If they provide you with eye protection, you have to wear it. And I understand other boards across Ontario have the same thing, and there's other boards that don't have to have eye protection. So there's no consistency there. It all depends on the board and what they feel, is safe for all employees. So that's one thing. We have safety protocols, especially being in phys ed, health room, fitness rooms, classrooms. Like we bought our own fogger, which is a sanitizing gun. And after every class, before every class, we sanitize and spray everything, the weight room, CrossFit room, and our cardio rooms in between classes. So that's something we do on a daily basis, 3, 4, 5 times. Sure, Bono, you see myself or Mr. walking around with that green gun.
Absolutely. And I see you guys with that. And that's my point. That's one thing I wanted you to mention was, so now on top of all your other responsibilities of teaching, now it's like I see you walk in, you almost look like it reminds me of like the Ghostbuster gun almost, right? Where you're going in and you're just kind of zapping everything and blowing everything down. So it is. It's a lot more responsibility for you. So it's definitely.
And you know what? Well, that's what we're doing. What we have to do because we want to be in that building. We want the kids to be there. We don't want the kids at home. So whatever it takes, if we got to do that 3 or 5 times a day, we're going to do it because it's really nice to have the kids in the building to see their faces and just kind of, they're in class and the kids want to be in class. And I'm sure they can adhere to that. They don't want to be at home and staring in front of a computer. They want to be in school. And that's just the best way. So we do what we got to do. It's different. But hey, right now it's just a kind of daily routine for me.
Yeah. So we want to get into this a little bit. We're lucky enough to have 2 high school athletes with us. And Dave, I want you to kind of speak in on this too and jump in on this. But we have, like I said earlier, we have Jared Dewar, grade 9, goes to Cora. Jared, can you just briefly talk about your high school experience so far coming into Cora as a grade 9 student? And just talk about, is it what you expected? Is it different? Why or why not?
Yeah, so it's way different than I expected because, I originally thought there was going to be more sports and, more activities to get involved with stuff, but obviously you can't do that. And then there's, a lot of restrictions and stuff like that for, for an example, eating lunch, you can't eat with other, kids and go to the cafeteria. You have to, stay in your classes and just eat with people that are, in your class.
So as a grade 9 student, that's got to be really hard to even kind of meet new people, right? And it's got to be tough to come in and just kind of build that rapport with fellow students. Do you find that tough?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Mercedes, from your standpoint, you're a grade 12 student, and I mean, I've said this to you. My heart goes out to you, grade 12 students. I look back at my grade 12 year, my OAC year. I'm so old. We had OAC back then, grade 13, and I can't imagine not having sports. You're very involved. Can you just talk a little bit about how your senior year has been, and just talk about the difficulty without having extracurriculars and how you've kind of dealt with that?
It's by far my worst year of high school. Really.
Sorry guys, I can't hear Bono. I can hear everybody else, but I can't hear Bono. And I got a couple texts from other people that said they can't hear Bono too. So I don't know what we want to do about that.
Okay.
I hear a lot of the questions. Jerry, I know you're a guy that lives for football. It must be killing you, right?
Yeah, that was the main thing.
Mercedes was answering.
Yeah, and of course you started out with you first of all you missed your summer season. Was supposed to be with the Phantom Sabercats, and you missed that. And then you go to high school. You're supposed to start there, so it must be killing you, right?
Yeah. I really want to get back out there and play.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite
Especially
thing to do.
As a young guy, you enter high school. That's kind of your identity. You're a football player. I know you was that. I've seen you play a lot.
Yeah.
And you don't even get to make your mark as a and establish yourself as a good athlete in school. It's kind of different, right?
Yeah, very, very different.
Yeah. Okay, now Mercedes, you are mainly a basketball player. Do you play volleyball also?
Mm-hmm. And
yes,
soccer.
Now I can't hear her either. So maybe Bono better ask her questions.
No, you guys can all hear me, right? Except for Jim right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mercedes, go back to what you were saying, if you don't mind. So, again, you were just talking about how it's a tough year of high school. So go on. Yeah.
So far for me, grade 12 has been my worst year of high school. From past experience, like every day I would wait actively, like in my chair for practice. Being able to wear your jersey on game days was like the best feeling. And me and my teammates would count down into tournament dates, from which I have like some of my best high school memories. And now it's just a feeling of emptiness because like all my life I've been known as a competitive athlete, a good basketball player. Take sports away, it's kind of like there's just nothing left for me to do, and
So,
you
yeah.
you just lose sight of who you are because you can't play basketball or any
Yeah.
sports.
So can you talk a little bit about how you have dealt with this? Or I'm sure you have, you and your friends have obviously, you guys are old enough where this is, this could have some lasting effects, right? So how have you dealt with this in terms of, just trying to get through it and trying to keep that aside?
Well, from the spring and the summertime, I would play basketball in my driveway, with some of my siblings and like close family members that were in my cohort. And then I actually learned like something new just to kind of keep me busy. I learned how to play the guitar because before I would have like one or two practices of two different sports every day, and now I don't have anything to do. I just have to learn something new to just pass the time and keep myself busy. That's how I cope.
Has there been a lot of talk amongst grade 12s coming back for another year because they've missed sports? So people who normally would just graduate, has there been a lot of talk about people wanting to stay back now because of that?
It's been 50-50. Some people are saying they want to come back, but they're also saying that they're afraid because if they come back in September and it's the same circumstances, Mr. Segordo said we don't know what's happening, like if we're going to get a vaccine, if things are going to go back to normal. Because if you're going to come back and then if they're still going to be the same, then, well, I don't know. It's been 50. But for
So
more that come back, things are going to be the same. Where if I go to post secondary, they're still allowed to have practices right now. They're not having games, they're still practicing.
Okay, I can hear everybody now. Mercedes, I got a question for you. Do you plan on going away next year?
I'm looking at a couple universities away and Algoma University here and Sioux College. I haven't made my final decision yet, but if COVID is still a main factor, I'll most likely stay here for my first year or
And do you plan on playing basketball in university?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how has not having a basketball season this year affected your recruiting process? Has it been a factor?
Yes, it has been a factor because, usually university coaches and college coaches look at themselves students. So last year I was a student, wasn't really looked upon. Another thing is that normally you would make like a highlight submit to university, and I can't even find gym time to make that video or give them footage from games. You know what I mean? Because we don't have a season.
Now, do you have any game film from grade 11 or anything like that you could send people or?
A little bit, but it's not really what I was hoping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know that experience well because my son Dylan just went through that. Luckily, he had grade 12 game film to send people. He was going back to play again, but he had grade 12 game film, and he managed to get recruited and go and sign someplace. But had he been out of grade 11, it would have been a tough situation because and I know you played senior basketball in grade 10, correct? Yeah, so you have a little bit more experience, and you were still a good player in grade 11. But a lot of people in grade 11 are still not the key player, right? And it makes it getting recruited a lot tougher, and that's something people forget, right? Yeah.
I have a quick question for Jared. Davey, I got one more for you. Jared, so great being in grind, there's a lot of unknowns coming to high school, right? There's a lot of nervousness, those types of things. The fact that you haven't had high school sports yet, do you think that that's going to affect the number and the amount of kids that might try out next year because they haven't had sports? Or do you think that people are still going to play? Like, are other grade 9 kids still active to play and they want to get involved?
I think they're all still active to get involved, because them missing out this year, they'll really like have like a lot of like they'll really want to get back into it, you know.
Yeah, that's a concern. That's
okay, go ahead, Bono.
Oh, sorry, quickly. Yeah, that's a little bit of a, and that's good to know, because obviously Jim and I are involved with Sioux Minor football, and there's a lot of concern with youth sports now, right? Kids have had the summer off. Are they going to go back to youth sports? Are they going to go back to playing, right? So that's good to know that kids are still real itching to go. Jim, just one quick question for Dave before you jump in. So Dave, you heard what Mercedes had to say. You're hearing what Jared has to say. I'm sure you've heard this from the students before. In terms of the school, have you noticed, I don't want to say like a mental health crisis, but have you noticed more school students and more kids that you act with suffering from mental health because of this? Or have the kids...
I can't go and say that I witnessed it, but you definitely see a change in all the students, specifically student athletes, because being so important for their physical and mental well-being, it's something that is not there for them right now. So it's like you see them that they're different. They come to me and say, sir, I miss playing, I miss practice, I miss basketball, I miss volleyball, and they just, it's sad to see. And I'm like, and I can't really do anything. And I just said, you know what? Well, be hopeful for September. We'll be up and running again, and we'll get all over this. And you could just tell everyone's just down. It's sad, it's because, and it's really, we talk about this all the time. At 2:40, when there's dismissal, actually 2:30 prior to buses, at 2:40, our halls are empty, gyms are empty, so quiet, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so sad, because 50 guys be ready for football practice. You got 15 girls getting ready for basketball. We got volleyball. We got people working out. Like, it's just mayhem after school. And now it's just quiet. You don't hear anything. It's just so sad. It's different. It hurts me, because it's like something I'm not used to. And like every day after school, practice till 5 o'clock. And you know what? I haven't been able to do that. It's just, so I feel for the kids, especially the seniors. Like, they put their heart and soul into 3 years of high school, and now to kind of finish off their fourth year, and they can't really finish it. And it's sad, because I'm trying to think my senior years of high school. Oh my God, those are the best years of my life. It was fantastic, and I just can't imagine what seniors are going through. And Jared in grade 9, he's like, I'm coming in ready to go, and unfortunately, he's like, man, I can't wait. He's just biting at the bullet right now, just kind of waiting to go and get at it. And his time will come. He's only grade 9, but student athletes like Mercedes, like she's in her grade 12, deciding, do I come back? Do I not? Those are tough decisions, because she comes back and there's no fall sports. That's unfortunate. That's really going to affect her, possibly her future in basketball. So some really tough decisions coming up for seniors, especially student athletes. And if they want to play where they want to play, they're going to get redshirted. The coaches are going by their grade 11 play, you know what I mean? So they really need anything to go by. But I'm sure Mercedes, Sioux Sports has a lot of video on you from your grade 11 game. So you might want to tap into that, and at least you'll have something.
Yeah, Dave, along those lines, we talk a lot these last few weeks. We've been talking a lot about the recruiting process for kids. We had we had Maya Hedrick on, who's going to play hockey in Minnesota, and then we had Drew Vioto on last week. So we've been talking a lot about the recruiting process. So I'll ask you, as a coach, you have a player like Mercedes, who I know is a really good player. How much do you get involved in the recruiting process as a coach? And especially during this time, a little special time, do you try and help her out a little bit more? How's that go, Dave?
You know what? I have coaches often, emailing me and contacting me. But recently I haven't had anybody inquire. It's just because there's nothing going on. And but I talked to Mercedes the other day. So, I'm going to reach out to a few people and help her out, and see if she can get some game film for her. And then I told her, I said, don't rush. You got time. to decide what she wants to do. And if she wants to come back, I'll help her out, be there for her. And if she doesn't, then I'll help her for the next step as well. But right now, coach, there's really nothing going on. Like, and it's sad. And usually my phone's ringing off the hook and emails just nonstop about our student athletes and what grade are they in? Do you have anything for them? And then that's why you go to tournaments, right? So you travel to kind of expose your athletes. And even to say we're up and running in September, I don't think there'd be any tournaments, to be honest with you. Traveling restrictions will still be there. So it'd be a local thing. So, that's why we travel, to get our athletes exposed to, hopefully college, university coaches will see them. And so that's going to be difficult as well. That's another area. We just want to get playing, right? As soon as we can.
Yeah, now another thing too is the schools are probably a little bit slower to recruit because they don't know what's going on either, right?
Absolutely. You got the OCAA and CIS. They made a decision in September to cancel sports for the whole year. And that was, wow, that was an eye opener for us. And they canceled it before high school. So when that came down, that just, man, we were like, oh, this is pretty serious. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I can tell you from a parent standpoint, I went through it with Dylan. He was coming back for a 5th year. And as soon as everything was canceled, I said, you know what, you got to sign someplace as fast as you can. And you get something done, because you don't know what's going to go on anymore, and there could be something canceled for the next year too. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but it's just a situation, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, Dave, another question for you: Do you worry about sports going forward? Like a sport like football, it's a big money sport for the school. It's not a sport that anymore that people just walk on and play regularly. Most of them have already played at the lower level, and they're ready. So do you worry about that going forward? Where if you go another year without football, you got 2 years without football, you got to be a little bit worried going forward, right? And it's a big sport for the schools. It's
Absolutely.
It's a sport. You got the East-West. It's kind of a kickoff to your school career, and so do you worry about that?
Absolutely. Football is our first sport, our first big team sport, and that's like to get our high school season up and running. We definitely count on it. It's socially for the kids. It's important. Man, I just the only advantage I see football is it's an outdoor sport, so which is a good thing. It's a tough question, Coach. Man, I wish.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to do our best to get going and push, and it's just some of the indoor sports, the contact sports like basketball. That'll be a difficult sport. Volleyball, you know what? I could see that going because of the opposite sides, the distancing that is involved. I know what protocols are going to be in place when we have vaccinations. I think there's still going to be some protocols that we have to follow, like no more handshakes. That's not going to happen anymore. It's just it's going to be a lot of things we have to follow. But I just, like I said earlier, I really want everything up and going in September, and that includes football, because that's so important for our high school sports. Just it's the first one, right? First major team event, and for grade 9s missing out on the East-West, like they hear about it, but to actually experience it, man, it's totally different.
So that's kind of what I wanted. Or sorry, Jim, just real quick. So
I'll just finish up. I'll finish up, Bono. Then you can go ahead. Okay. I just want to say thanks, Dave. You were awesome. It was great to get your information from you. Clear up a few rumors and some doubts, and it's nice to hear what really is going on. And Mercedes and Jared, it's great to talk to you guys. We thought it was really important for people to remind people that it's the students that are losing out here, and I'm not putting blame on anybody. It's just a very unfortunate situation, and we like to remind people that the students are really losing out here, and it's really a sad situation. And guys like me and Dave, we're older guys. We can coach our sports and do whatever we want forever, but you only have so much time to play, and I feel bad for you guys. From the bottom of my heart, I feel so bad for you guys. So that's all I got to say. Bono, go ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what Brent Barnes is posting about the mental health aspect of the kids. And Brent, that's why we're doing this show, and that's why we're really grateful that Mr. Zagordo here decided to come on, as well as both Mercedes and Jared. So one thing that I wanted to ask Jared again real quick was, and Dave, I was wondering, Mr. Zagorda, I was wondering if this is an issue for you too, and then I got one more for you, Mercedes, as well. But, I look back at my grade 9 year, and Mercedes, I'm sure you can even speak to this too for girls basketball, but girls basketball and football are the first two sports that are active and going. I look back at my grade 9 year, and I was a little passive going out in grade 9. I was a little nervous, but I ended up going out and playing. I'm so thankful I did that because I still have friends that I made, on that team, right? And I wonder if I didn't have football in grade 9, or if there was no girls basketball for Mercedes in grade 9, would some of these players who are a little apprehensive still go out in grade 10, right? And you wonder if that's going to kind of stop them or bring them back and not play. So I have a concern for high school sports actually going forward, that a lot of kids with a lot of potential might not play. So, Jared, I wanted to ask you, is there anybody that you've talked to in your grade 9 group of friends who was going to play high school sports this year, but because they haven't played and there's no sports, that aren't going to try out next year?
No, because they're all like they're really pumped for this, and since it didn't happen, they're gonna get more excited to come out again next year. So that's how
That's
it's probably, my
That's
opinion,
good to hear.
be for most people.
That's really good to hear. Dave, same question. Is that a concern for you going forward? I know you're really involved with girls basketball. Is there a little bit of a concern there that kids might decide not to come out?
I've talked to a few of them, and they were just so excited to just start playing high school sports. So, I just said, stay positive, and you know what, just look forward to next year. And they say, absolutely, I'm still gonna, come out next year. And then there hasn't really been a negative impact because of this. I see it more as a positive because they're so anxious and ready to get involved. And some of the things we're doing, we're talking about mental health. It was one of the things that I went to my principal and I said, and she said, what more can we do for these kids? Because, after school, there's really nothing going on, and at lunch. So what we started doing is we've opened up our gym at lunchtime and just have open gym. But I had to separate all the kids into their cohorts, into the grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 cohorts. So, and there's like 3 or 4 classes. So for 25 minutes, a half an hour, I go get these kids and I say, come down to the gym, play volleyball, basketball, or badminton. And they are so happy just to leave a classroom because they're supposed to sit there for an hour and eat lunch. And now starting this week, I'm in the process of getting these classes together, and we have open gym for them. And Frank Mandalia, who runs the weight room, he's also opening up, the weight room according to cohorts and approved by APH and how protocols we're following. So, we're doing our best to get these kids active, and we don't want them going home after school. So that's what we're doing to help out these kids as much as we can. And so I just wanted to just let you guys know that there's stuff going on in the same areas, just to say, at lunchtime, hey, let's get out of that classroom, let's get you moving, and then after school too. So
That's great.
Everything's so much harder, right, Dave? Everything's harder to do, right? Everything's
Yeah.
nothing's easy with that this time. Yeah, that's for sure. Go ahead, Bono. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Mercedes, do you feel, and I'm hesitant to ask this because I don't want to put you on the spot. If you feel like I'm putting you on the spot, just say so and we can move on. But, do you feel administration, or do you feel, not administration, but do you feel like the higher ups have really taken into consideration what you're feeling and what other grade 12 students are feeling? Or do you guys kind of feel like your voice has been kind of lost in the shuffle? Or again, do you just kind of understand the situation and it kind of it is what it is?
As much as I understand the situation and I understand they're trying to, keep us in terms of COVID, I honestly do feel like our voices did get lost, because anybody who's played a high school sport just knows that it makes that much of a difference. This is not like a little, this is basically life changing. And like, coming from a senior student, if I didn't have school sports in grade 9, 10, and 11, I that's how you make friends, that's how you make memories. So I honestly feel bad for like Jared and just other grade. Like I back to what you're saying. Like I feel like our voice, like they should consider a little bit more than COVID. But
That's very well said. I love what you said there. I mean, and that's, yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I was saying this to some grade 9 athletes that I know at St. Mary's. And Jarrett, I don't know if you're going to agree with this or not, but I actually told them, and I'm sure Mercedes would agree with this, but, out of every year, if this were to happen and you're going into high school, it's probably best that it happened in grade 9, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to miss, it'll be the 1 year, and then you can still have those memories going forward.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, at least he knows going forward he's probably going to be able to play, right? That at some point in time, it might not be next year, but at least he knows going forward he's going to be able to play again. Whereas Mercedes will never play high school sports again, and that's really sad, right? So, yeah.
I know. Like just hearing. Oh, go ahead, Mercedes. Sorry.
Bad for like I'm thankful enough that I have a good shot of playing basketball in person.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for the athletes that don't have that chance to do that, because then that's it. That's all.
That's so true, Mercedes. I always tell football players that, because I always tell them how lucky they are to be playing, because we look back. Dave played high school football with me. We loved it, Dave. We do anything to go back, right? And I always tell the players always tell them how lucky they are to be playing, and they don't get it, right? You take it for granted until it's gone, and then I'll see an old player 5 years down the road, and they'll say, "You know what? You were right. I was so lucky to play. I'd love to go back." And now, now it gets taken away from people even a year early, and it's sad. But we all get it. It's safety first. I'm not trying to be controversial, but it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
So.
No, it is.
So,
yeah, guys. Dave, anything else you want to say? Anything else you wanted to address or cover? I'll give you one last chance here if there's anything else you wanted to say or address regarding anything that we talked about today.
No, I think everything. I appreciate you asking me, because I know there's rumors out, and our teachers are lazy, coaches are lazy. It's absolutely not the case. My coaches are calling me, when can I get out there? When can I start doing stuff? So it's definitely not the coaches or teachers. We definitely want to be there for the kids. Our hands are tied. So unfortunately, it doesn't look good for this year. But our goal is to get up and running in September, and we will do our best to start off with football, cross country, and girls basketball. Our goal is to get up and running, and again, it's going to be tough, but hopefully our government can shape up and get everything going. And I just tell all the student athletes out there, just be patient. If you're young, grade 9, 10, you're going to get your opportunity. For seniors, unfortunately, it's there's still hope. And, just be positive, and hopefully we can get through this. And last thing, I just want to say thanks to Sioux Sports, Jay, Tony, and Bono. You guys, over the past several years for high school sports, you guys have just done a tremendous job, whether you're in the rink televising a game or in the basketball court or volleyball, wrestling. It's you guys have just been outstanding the last few years, and you definitely make a difference for high school sports in our community. And on behalf of the athletic associations, just wanted to say thank you. And hopefully when we get over all this, you guys can continue the good work that you guys started.
Now, sorry, Dave. Question I have is, I do a lot of work with Algoma University. Before Christmas, before we had the stay-at-home lockdown, the Algoma Public Health allowed them to practice in their facilities. So why isn't, and I'm being a little candid here, but why isn't the Superior, the Catholic Board and the Public Board looking at what Algoma's doing and allowing high schools at least to the kids to practice if they're allowing Algoma to do it? Why aren't the boards looking at that?
That's a question you got to ask our superiors, and it's something I really don't have an answer to. I know it has to do with, your college and universities. They're a separate sector, and we are the education system. So Ontario Ministry of Education So we have to follow our protocols and guidelines from the Ministry of Education. And that has college and OCAA is different, and CIS is different. So if they do allow them to practice, that is a separate entity to high school. So I agree with you, especially if they follow safety protocols. We would do the exact same thing. I want to be out there to practice, not to say every day, but at least for skill development. Like I look at some of these grade 9s who don't have an opportunity to play. So they're actually going to be in a high school sport in their grade 10 year. The last time they were competitively playing was grade 8. And I don't competitively grade 8. I can hardly get that out of my mouth because it's elementary sports, and grade 9 is such a transition. And now they're going to skip grade 9 to go to grade 10. And that's 2 years, man. It's good. The pace is just going to be so different when we get up and running. Even a grade 9 athlete who missed grade 10, they're going right to senior ball, whether it's basketball or football. And it's junior to seniors, so different. These kids are in for a huge awakening, whatever sport, because it's going to be 2 years before they actually compete competitively. And that's going to be huge and different for us coaches, because we're going to have to most back to basics.
So Dave, quick question regarding follow-up based on that. Actually, it was a conversation I had today with a coach at St. Mary's. We actually talked about this quite a bit. And to what you were saying, I have a real concern about football and especially basketball. Especially like I look at girls basketball. Girls basketball is a physical sport, just like on it's not as physical as it's up there with football if you've seen it. It's pretty intense. But you're gonna have these athletes, and I'll just use football as the example because that's what I know more. You're gonna have kids who haven't had in 2 years. Jared's a running back. He's a really good. He's probably the best grade 9 running back in the city, and he hasn't taken a hit now in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's a chance that if there is sports in the fall, that instead of having that 2-week window to practice before the season starts, is there a chance even for girls basketball that would even be extended by a week just to help get people back in shape, help to, get a little bit more in, just get into it a little bit more? Is that something that could be sport, in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea. It's football. What do you have like 2 weeks before your first game?
Yeah.
And then
it's a week before school starts, I think is usually what it is. And is it the same with girls basketball, I believe, right, Mercedes? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and in football, you guys go 2 a day sometimes just to get the practice.
To try and get caught up,
to prepare you for your first game. Girls basketball doesn't start till like the 3rd week of September. So we do we have a little bit of leeway in regards to that. Cross country running begins, so that's an individual sport. But again, just to get everyone adapted to the change, especially football being the contact sport and how important it is for technique. Great idea. I think, right now with a few teams in our league, instead of doing two games, maybe just playing each school once and focusing on practice, focusing on our techniques. Because again, we want to be safe and we want the kids to no one get injured. We don't want to put anybody out in the field who's not really hasn't had any repetitions to play. So that's something where the Athletic Association will have to talk about. Playing football, maybe giving them a couple more weeks to get that rust off. And I think it's a great idea. Something we'll definitely have to talk about.
It's funny though. You think I never thought of that. There's the guys that play football in grade 9, girls that play basketball in grade 9. They're backups, right? Basically, grade 9s are generally backups, and now they go on. They're in grade 11, and they're the young guys again. They're probably backups again. And think about how much your body changes for a grade 9 boy. I mean, I remember myself. I was 140 pounds in grade 9. I was 230 pounds in grade 11. That's a totally different person, right? I know that's not normal, but I mean, your body changes a lot. And I never thought of that. If they're going to be different, so what a difference.
Yeah.
What a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Mercedes, we really hope that you keep us posted. Now that I've introduced myself to you around the school, I hope if you have any recruiting offers, or if you have any if you have any announcements you'd like to make, you're always welcome on the show. You can come on here anytime, but keep us posted with what you're doing, because you're a great role model for other students going through something similar, and you were extremely well spoken today, and I thought you did a really great job. So thank you very much for coming on. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Really quickly, I just at this point, I feel like maybe Mr. Zagordo, you can pass this on to whoever, but something is better than nothing at this point. Just a couple practices, even just one regular local game, that's really in my dreams right now. And I'm sure it's in a lot of other people's dreams, especially for grade 12 students. Just to wear the uniform one more time and just touch a ball on my home court, that would be I would consider that a good ending to my grade 12, better than. But yes, thank you for having me on the show. And anytime, if I have any exciting news, I'll let you guys know.
Jared, and Jared, again, very well spoken. You did a great job today. I know it's tough to come on here with all of us, but I thought you did great. I think you have a huge future in football. I can't wait to see what you do. You're a great young man, and you deserve all the good things that come to you. Do you have anything else you'd like to say here today?
Yeah. I just hope this all can get resolved as quickly as possible because I really want to play. So, thank you for having me. Yeah.
And again, thanks, Jerry. Very well said. And again, Mr. Zagordo, thanks so much, man. I understand, we kind of put you on the hot seat here a little bit, but you answered everybody's questions. You honestly did a great job. And I've gotten a whole bunch of texts already saying that they thought you did a great job, and everybody was really happy. So appreciate the information. And you're always welcome on here if there's any announcements or if there's anything you want to say or get out. Because again, me and Jim and Jay all think the same thing, right? We all live in the Sioux. We know how the rumors go around. Instead of the best way to overcome the rumors is to get in front of them. So if there's anything that you want to get out, or if there's anything you want to say, I see you every day. You can pass on a message, and I'll gladly get it out to you and get it out. So really appreciate all three of you coming on, and we look forward to seeing what you guys do. And again, thanks very much for speaking. You guys all did a great job.
Thank you for having us.
Guys. It was great. It was awesome.
All right. Well, take care. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks. Take care.